For many of us, 7 a.m. is more than just a time on the clock. It is the sound of the day awakening, the rustle of uniforms, and the rush of little feet hurrying to school. It is the smell of freshly prepared breakfast, the chatter of friends reuniting, and the promise of a new day full of possibilities. After Nigeria gained independence in 1960, the education system in Lagos entered a transformative era. The post-colonial government recognized the critical role education could play in national development and took steps to expand access to learning opportunities. Significant policies such as the 1979 Free Education Policy played a crucial role in expanding access to primary and secondary education. This policy ensured free and compulsory education, allowing more children than ever before to attend school, particularly those from low-income families. Moreover, the education landscape has expanded from a few missionary-run schools to a system that includes 1,705 state-owned and 15,003 private primary and secondary schools, along with 12 universities, 6 polytechnics, and 5 colleges of education.
Yes, my name is Mr. Kolawole Amushan, Principal, International School, University of Lagos.
Yes.
Yes, you are right. ISL was founded 9th of November 1981. So that's how many years now? It's been 40. This year is going to be 44 years. So we are 43 years old as a school. And the school was established after the independence of Nigeria. So talking about your question, how has the school thrived since inception? Of course, the school started small. In the current day staff school, that was the initial site, the temporary site, with just a few classrooms, about 6 teachers at that time. So, but over the years, the school has grown. It has thrived. The school, as we speak now, has produced so many great people. That's the evidence of the fact that it has thrived. Innovations. Well, a lot of innovations. I remember when I started teaching in HSS, at that time, we were using chalk and what you call blackboard in teaching. But you know that teaching has gone beyond that now. So, talking about innovation, we've been able to move from having to use chalk in the classroom to using the white marker board, and now because of even the IT age, though we don't have so much of that here now, but we have moved from even using the white marker board to using the computer, using the screen, the interactive screen or board to teach. And I remember in 2020, when COVID-19 came, and we all had to go on lockdown, we quickly had to adjust to online teaching. That's the kind of thing you are doing now in the University of Lagos. So we had to do online teaching with our students. So that's part of the innovation. And education is evolving. So you don't stay at the same point. I remember some of the things we were using as teaching aids those days when we first started. It has gone beyond that now, because we didn't have the mobile phones when I started teaching. When I was even in the university, it wasn't there. But now you can go to the classroom and uh, play videos for your students to listen to. So those are the kind of innovations we have done here. Some of our teachers could use drama in the class, to be able to pass across knowledge. So a lot of innovations we have done. So we have had between 1960 and now, we've had a lot of policies of government affecting education. I can tell you from the time I was in secondary school. At that time, it was 5 years of education we were having in secondary school. So I went through forms 1 to 5. But if you look at the secondary education now, what we have is JSS 1, or basic, we call it basic 7, to JSS 3, which is basic 9. We now have senior school, that's junior school. GS1 to GS3 is junior school. We now have SS1 to SS3, which is senior school. So at some point, there was a change because of government policy, from what you used to have 6-5-2-3 policy of education. You know what I call 6-5-2-3? 6 years in primary school, 5 years in secondary school. At that time, you do 2 years of advanced level studies before you go to do 3 years in the university. So at some point, around 1988, government came up with 6334 policy of education, where you spend 6 years in primary school, 3 years in junior secondary school, 3 years in senior secondary school, and then 4 years in the university. But even after that, a lot of reforms. We've had a lot of reforms after the 6334 policy of education. And of course, you keep having regular review of the curriculum. I think there is one that is even already in the process is on now, because the current Minister of Education has already told us that there will be a reform of the national curriculum. So it's something that is done regularly, and it is expected. I think government has a standard that once, even in education, we believe that once a particular curriculum is not addressing the need of the society again, you need to reform it. So it is expected that within every 5 or 10 years maximum, there should be a review of the curriculum. So we've had so many policies affecting education. Challenges. I will talk about, since we are talking about Lagos generally, infrastructural facilities. I remember in the late 70s, particularly between 1979, when former governor of Lagos State, Alhaji Lateef Jakonde, became governor of Lagos State, a lot of secondary schools were established at that time, and you find some of them not having proper structures. I don't know if you have heard about Jakonde buildings before. So those buildings were like substandard buildings. But what the government had in mind at that time, because the Lagos State government at that time was operating a free education policy that will allow all children in Lagos State to go to school. So there were a lot of schools that were established in various communities just to allow every child in Lagos to go to school. So infrastructural facilities became a challenge. Another challenge has to do with discipline of students. If you look at our society today, the level of misconduct with young people has grown, and the current trend in education is that you should be careful about how you correct children. When we were going to school, when I was in primary school, secondary school, teachers could use cane on you, on us. In fact, they were using it on us. A lot of flogging, corporal punishment. Of course, some of us who went to school outside of Lagos, they could take you to, because we had large farm lands within the school compound. If you do anything wrong, they get you to go and work in the farm and do tedious work. But you know, the method of discipline, things have changed now, because we are living at a time where even if as a teacher you scold a child now, the parent could come fight you or sue you. So, and that is affecting the level of discipline. We've had cases where students will have to maybe be so rude. Some students have even beaten up their teachers. So these are challenges. Talking about challenges that schools have faced. Of course, at some point, things have also improved now. At some point, you also discover that people didn't want to practice as teachers, even those who read education in school. Excuse me. So you discover that people didn't want to practice as teachers. And of course, not that people, even those who read education, didn't want to practice as teachers. We also have a situation where we didn't have enough qualified teachers. Dearth of teachers. We don't have enough qualified teachers. Though, like I said, that has improved now. If you go to any standard school in Nigeria today, you will find qualified teachers in standard schools. But even as I speak, you will still find in some schools. And when I say qualified teachers, you know, for anybody to teach, especially in primary and secondary school, what we expect is that you should have a teaching qualification. With the minimum teaching qualification in Nigeria is NCE. And if you're a graduate, you should have at least a degree in education. So that's part of the challenge. And a lot of people who even find themselves in teaching, they will just say, let me just go and let me just use teaching to fill in the gap until like those of you who are studying history now. Until I get ambassadorial job with foreign ministry, or I get a job to work as what do you call them? Diplomats. So if you need somebody that will teach history in your school, let me just come and fill the gap. So that has been a challenge, because when you take up a job like that, it means there won't be commitment, because you are really not interested in the job. You are just using it to fill in the gap. So those are challenges, but things are getting better now. We now have a professional body that is licensing teachers, TRCN, Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria. So if you are going to work in a standard school like ours, you must have teaching qualification. You must be licensed to practice as a teacher. And I think government is supporting that. Of course, TRCN is an agency of federal government. So they are supporting that to make sure that things go on well in the school system. I can tell you that ISL has been able to maintain standard despite these challenges. One, we have continued to employ qualified teachers. Nothing but, qualified. In ISL here, you have, with student population of about 1,500, we have teaching staff of 125 teaching staff only, all of whom are graduates, majority of whom have master's degree in various disciplines. We even have a few of us with PhD. So quality, because quality of teachers will determine the quality of the school, the standard. Then apart from quality of teachers, we also try to have good facilities for sporting activities. If you go around, you will see a basketball court, because education is not just about learning or classroom work. There must be extra curricular activities as part of the school system. So you find basketball court, you find standard football pitch, standard laboratory. So we've been able to get a lot of support from the universities, because the University of Lagos are the owners of this school. They supported us with structures. If you go around, some even private universities around don't have the kind of facilities we find in ISL. So the facilities. So we've been able to maintain standard with quality of teaching staff. Apart from teaching staff, like I said, we also have non-teaching staff. Those who work in the library, in the laboratory, to make sure that the school is running. So we've been able to maintain standard. And of course, with the support of even the Parent Teachers Association of the school. So we also have the support.
Following this, an interview session was also held with the head teacher of Akoka Nursery and Primary School, where valuable insights were offered on the growth of education since the post-colonial era.
I'm Mrs. V.C. Okeke, the head teacher of Akoka Nursery and Primary School, Yaba, Lagos State. For the period I joined the teaching service, let's say 1992, that's where I can say something about, because from those time I don't know. But from 1992, when I joined the teaching service of Lagos State, there are some changes. Let me say, on maybe every year, and then various methods of teaching also have changed. Before, the teacher will just come in, stand in front of the class, say whatever you want to say. But this time around, they make the teaching more of a child-centered, like pupils participate more. That is one of the main things that is happening now. Pupils participate more. You just give them information on what to do, then you watch them do it by themselves, and then you just give them corrections, give them prompts. Where they are not doing well, you tell them what to do, and they will take off from there. Then, another thing that have changed now is some punishments. Now, for example, for Lagos State, we don't punish children like it was before, where you can flog, give corporal punishments, but now, nothing of such again. There is no corporal punishments, there is no flogging, but we also have some of the punishments we can give, but it's like in a milder form. Maybe stand up at the back of the class, close your eyes for 5 minutes, or you miss break, or you go to the head teacher's office. Then when you come, I will ask you, sit down at the reading corner there, read something, tell me what you understand before I will leave you. The same thing in the classroom too. So the era of flogging, kneeling down, all those era, we don't practice them again. But during our own time, there is nothing like nursery and primary. You start from primary 1 straight, when you will learn how to write. And I still remember during our own time, you can still put your hands from on your head to touch the ear, like 6 years or so. But because I come from the background that my mother was a teacher, so I used to follow her to school then. That was why I was able to finish fast, because at the age of 10 I finished primary school, even though that day. So, but during that time, age, if you are not 6, 7, you will not be in the school. But now, 2.5, you see them at the age of 9, you see them writing common entrance, entering primary school. So age also have changed, because I remember during my own time in primary school, in fact, we are the baby in the school, because we have 16, we have 18, we have people that are women that after primary school they got married. We have boys that are even doing menial job and still coming to school. We have 16, even my husband too. So it's an example. My husband, I think he finished primary school at the age of 15. So by the age of 25, he was finishing secondary school. But myself, at the age of 16, I'm done with so age also is part of what have changed. Now we have children that are younger compared to our own time. Then that time too, during our own time, the pupils are more disciplined than what we have now. If a child is doing something, say your teacher is coming, everybody will sit up. But this time around, nothing like that. Even if they say the teacher is coming, they don't even bother. Maybe because I will put that one, because there is a limit to what we can do to the children. We don't punish them anymore. But during that time, the teacher can flog you, the teacher can do anything. Nobody will question him or her. But now, all those ones are no longer there. We have a lot of challenges. In as much as the government have come in to sort some of them challenges is writing material, because some of the parents, they don't care, and maybe from the perception they have that ilé-ìwé ìjọba, everything is free. Even up till now, some come to school without exercise book, some come without biro, some tattered uniform, sandals, socks, everything. All those ones, there are challenges on their own. Then number 2, environment too. Even you people that are here now, you hear the noise, the bus driver, the horn, the everything. It's always a problem. Then lastly, the problem I would say we are facing now is maybe migration. Because if you look at the schools, more especially those schools in the urban area, people are no more much in the school. If you have a population of 150 now, you will say you have population. But when I started this job, I was lucky to be in the other school, Oluwole Primary School. The first class I taught there was 5E. 5E was the first class I taught. Imagine having 5A, 5B, 5C, 5D, 5E. That time, this other school was about 1,000 plus, and this Akoka was up to 2,000 then. That was 1990, between 1992, 93, 94, 95. But now, the building are no longer there. Most of them, they break them. Students have taken over. Some of them, the parents, maybe the original owner, they sold it up and go to Ikorodu or those areas. So population is really affecting us seriously. Some of these ones we are having around now, some of them come all the way from down community. Some from Ilaje, some from Unilag, those that their parents are working. But within the neighborhood, population, not only here, majority of the schools around, population is one of the problems that is affecting us now. The policy of not writing lesson notes, the teachers are enjoying it because they don't need to sit down again and write. Once you have your smartphone, if you like, you print it out, everything is given to you. If you like, you can be teaching directly from your phone, that one too. And so other favorable policies is that it's not the time you dictate what you can do. They have given you laid down rules and regulation. School start by 8, close by 2 for senior class, close by 1. You cannot keep the children more than that because the government will frown at it. You have to release them. Before, some teachers may engage in private lesson or what, but they will tell you if you want to an additional income, you go and rent a place. No need, you cannot make use of school property again. You go rent a place, let the children remove their school uniform and come back for extra lesson. Record keeping now, even to the we that administrator, the same thing. Not the time of doing this. Sometimes some of the information you do it on your phone and you send to them without leaving your office. So all those ones are favorable, but they're not favorable. I don't think they're not much. I don't think there is anything that is unfavorable.
Yeah, I'm B Victor, and I'm the principal or head teacher, like we call it here, of St. Finbar's College. A lot has changed in terms of infrastructure, discipline, and then performance on the part of the students. Because when we took over at first, the performance had gone low compared to when the missionary, you know, founded the school. And there were a lot of laxity. Students can jump over the fence, they can be disobedient to teachers, and it was very rampant to the extent that the public there saw our boys, or the St. Finbar's boys during that government era, as Bariga bombers, or what they used to call them one rascally name. So, but when we took over October 2001, we had to sanitize this place. We made sure we still discipline, and those that could not stay disappeared naturally. Those that could not withstand the discipline, because in any school, if you compromise discipline, then you're as good as being a failure in that structure. So we now had to do that, and we started taking in our own boys. That is, people that went through our own entrance and everything, and we were able to tame them gradually. That discipline came into the system, and by the grace of God, we have a serious, good structure in terms of academics and discipline. Because the school culture, we always encourage students to be disciplined. Once you are disciplined, every other thing will follow. Yeah, like I said earlier on, we instill discipline, because if we don't compromise in discipline, and that is why some parents out there, they bring their children here because of that discipline, because that is one of our unique selling points, discipline. And we bring your child, and we'll train your child and bring out the best in your child. And then we also try to expose the boys to sports, because a sound mind in a sound body, then you are ready to work. So all these things combined together made us to get the best from the boys. Yeah, we are still under the control of the State Ministry of Education. We pay our annual dues, we attend their meetings, and before we register children for WAEC, we have to submit our registers and they take the number we are presenting, record it, and give us clearance before we go ahead. So, and the inspectors from the Federal Ministry, State Ministry of Education, they also come here regularly for inspection. So we still follow their rules and we are under their control. Not all are favorable because out there in Europe, they give subvention to schools. But in Nigeria, we pay. We have to pay annual due. There's no support whatsoever from government. The only thing we see about them is to come here and inspect. That is all. And most of the time when they come, they give us high mark because they know that when they come here, they see the best, 98%, 99%. So that's how they have been with us. So the one of them, we are talking of 3 phases now. The first phase was when it started. It was founded by Reverend Father Slattery, and then it was a standard school. Even children of governors were coming here for their education. But in 2001, that is no before 2000, that's 1977, the government took over until 2001 when they now handed back. Within that period, there was a decadence in the educational system as far as Fimbas College was concerned. Most of the infrastructures were dilapidated, no windows, no doors in some cases. A student can just slap a teacher and jump over through the window and disappear. And the population was not manageable. You have 3,000, 4,000 people within this system, and it was really, that kind of way. Those people cannot really wield that discipline because population explosion happened, free for all. You come to school at 10 o'clock, you close by maybe 11 o'clock or even 12 o'clock, and that is how they rubbish the whole system. But after that, the 2001 era, that is the second missionary journey now came, and then we sanitize the environment, and that is what you see now. You see discipline, everybody, like our boys, we always preach to them every morning. We talk to them about greeting, integrity, stealing, and every other vices that is happening outside there, and they try to imbibe it in their at times the government, they always want to bite more than they can chew, and they kind of want to put hands in everything. But luckily for the missionary schools, even including the Muslim schools, when Tinubu came in as a governor in Lagos State, he was able to return schools to the missionary owners, the Muslims, the Christians, and even private individuals. And they now saw that the government could not really run education the way it's supposed to be. And that is one of the good points I love about Tinubu. When he returned the schools recover their past glory. Go to the Muslim school. There's a group we have, the first generation school in Lagos. We call that group LAVJECA, Lagos State First Generation Colleges Association. These are colleges, about 23 of us. We formed an association. We meet for sports, we meet for academics, debate, and other challenges. So we are trying to recall that past glory. And presently is the principal of Asaruddin Isola, that is the chairman. I handed over to him. We rotated between the Christian schools and the Muslim schools. So that's how far we have gone. Yeah, in terms of funding, St. Vima is among the few private schools that are self-funded, and with the support of the old boys and friends of the school and even the archdiocese, we have been able to fund the school. But there are schools out there that are looking for funds, especially public schools. Nothing. It cannot be achieved because the population of students coming here is just about maybe 5 or 8% going into the private school. While out there, you have over 80% suffering. They don't have good infrastructure. Even their laboratories, nothing to write home about. They want to write WAEC, they are just using idea to label things, and they don't even see the chemicals themselves. So how can they achieve? So I don't think it can be achieved until government go into full funding of the education, especially at the secondary school level.
Okay.
I am Dr. Felix Agiola. I'm a development historian, sociocultural anthropologist, and political economist in the Department of History and Strategic Studies, the University of Lagos. Educational development in Lagos cannot be exonerated or separated from the efforts or the foundation laid by the nationalist leaders during the decolonization period and also the post-independence period. All right, it is first important to know that Lagos State came to be only in 1967. All right, so but before that, Lagos as an entity was part of the Federal Capital Territory in Lagos. So whatever policies that shaped educational development in Nigeria was designed. All right, Lagos was the bedrock of those initiatives and innovation that actually propelled sound educational development, and the critical figures or political actors are quite notable or should be credited for this laudable initiative, and one of such was Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who introduced the free primary education, the FPE, all right, as a result of the widespread dissatisfaction with missionary education, the colonial education system, all right, which was quite defective, all right, and so uneven in structure and also in quality. You will recall that colonial education was designed primarily to produce civil or skilled worker for the colonial enterprise, to produce civil servants, those who work as administrators, right, to service the engine of colonial capitalism. That was the nature, and that's reflected in the curriculum, in the syllabus, given to the student both at the primary, secondary level, and you could see that some of the changes or the improvement made during the colonial period to educational curriculum were actually as a result of the agitations and the efforts of the nationalists who clamored for changes every time before the colonial government could even afford what was left in 1950s and 60s. So the foundation for educational system that Lagos inherited during its creation in 1967 was laid with the effort of people like Obafemi Awolowo, who laid the structure as a result of the dissatisfaction with colonial system, all right, which led to the institution of the free primary education scheme, FPE, in the 1950s. This was the largest expansion of education in colonial Africa, which nearly doubled the number of primary schools in the region between 1952 and 1954. So, of course, with the creation of Lagos in 1967, successive governors or administrators in Lagos played significant roles in expanding, in consolidating some of the efforts made by the post-colonial elite. All right, for instance, at between 1950s and 1960s, when Lagos itself was created, over 50% of children between ages of 6 and 12 were beneficiaries of the FPE. This was a solid foundation that we could not move forward without establishing or erecting a solid foundation for primary education system, because the substructure, all right, is quite more important than the superstructure, to the post-colonial elite. If the foundation is solid, then the structure, superstructure, will have to be solid. So the FP, the free primary education, provided a wider base for entrance into secondary schools, which also enhance the quality of graduates, all right, produced from these primary and secondary schools. Especially these were the generations who gain admissions into the universities that emerged after independence, such as the University of Lagos, which was established by an Act of Parliament 1962, the Obafemi Awolowo University, the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, the Ahmadu Bello University, ABU, in addition to the already established tertiary institutions like the Yaba College of Technology of 1934 and the University College Ibadan, which was established in 1948. So this educational initiatives, the FP provided the basis not only for social transformation that occurred after the creation of Lagos, but also it supplied this personnel, skilled personnel that actually contributed tremendously to the development of Nigeria educational, economy, political system. You cannot write about the history of educational development without the structures laid. It was a spillover. Whatever the governors after independence did after the creation of Lagos was as a result of the foundation laid. There were spillovers of the policies, sound policies, all right, solid initiatives, standard curriculum, all right, that reflected the existential realities of the people, all right, not what the colonial government had designed, all right, basically to teach people Christian, Bible reading, all right, CRK, all right, to teach people only agricultural science, all right, and maybe some very mundane topics, subjects, all right, perhaps geography, of course history was taught, all right, then for the ladies more sardonically, hymns, singing hymns, and sewing and all of that. This were the structure, but the post-colonial realities actually propelled a drastic shift away from this colonial orientation, whereby heavy investments, all right, were made in educational sector, all right, in a way to drive the rapid economic development and modernity which was needed. So in place where education was available, it became a source of empowerment for many Lagosians and Nigerians, who fit into different sector of the Nigerian economy. In fact, the fact that these Lagosians and Nigerians did perform excellently in different landscapes actually showed the rapid development that occurred during the post-colonial period. However, since the creation of Lagos, several administrators from Mobolade Johnson had also played a pivotal role in consolidating the efforts of the nationalist elite, especially building upon the legacies of Obafemi Awolowo's free primary education scheme. Right, in Lagos, several schools were established when Lagos was created in 1967, especially more importantly during the regime of Alhaji Lateef Jakonde, all right, and his successor. The government paid specific attention to educational development in Lagos, where a number of schools were established in Lagos. Several antiquated and obsolete ones were rehabilitated, to conform with modern standard, not just in terms of the infrastructure, but also in terms of the pedagogy, in terms of the quality of teaching, all right, and instruction from those schools. All right, teachers in some of these schools were incentivized to effectively, or to passionately deliver, their best. in the interest of the state. And of course, a keen attention must be paid to the dispensation of key governors in Lagos like Olagunsoye Oyinlola, all right, who also invested heavily in primary and secondary education, all right, where those schools were built, more schools were built, old ones were also restructured, all right. The curriculum, also were designed in a way that actually shaped the existential realities of the time.